Hello, it's Jang here with a look at a Bloks Terminator Genisys set. This is the T800 pack. Comes with 113 pieces. Of course, the little toy-minators themselves are the things that we need to focus on, and I've posed them in slightly different ways to kind of show off some of the range of what's available with the articulation scheme that they came up with here. You notice very early on that one of these is not like the other. One of these is the hero. It's the one that's shown through the window on the package when you buy the thing to make it look a little bit better, and it does have a wash over it, while the other ones do not have said wash. That treatment really brings out the incredible level of detail they're able to get into this tiny, tiny little model for something to be mass-produced and yet to be designed to be played with, you know, to have the durability to actually stand up to play with kids, and to have this level of individual little bits that are replicated in there is pretty fantastic, I think, especially for the low price. The amount of work that goes into these things is pretty incredible. This one also gets the special printed blaster. It's actually a masked automated paint application there. It goes around both sides with the silver. The others in the set do not get that paint application at all. They just have plain black blasters, but they did a good job. The designers did a good job of I think mixing together the functional design here to get articulation into the whole thing with the aesthetic design. You know, it's not too obvious, the joints. All things considered, I think they did a pretty good job here. But I did pose the other ones up in different ways to show you what they can do and also what some of their limitations are when it comes to posing. So of course you've got the head on a ball joint. That's pretty standard for Bloks stuff, so you can turn it any direction. You can also tilt the head off in one direction or the other, which brings in some extra little attitude there. And then there's also a ball joint up in the torso, kind of back behind the sternum. That's a interesting placement there. Allows you to twist the whole body side to side and also to rotate. That kind of effectively becomes your waist joint for the whole thing. And there's a little spot where it kind of has to go over a hump there to get past, but you can stop it at any point. There's just some areas where it'll kind of lean in one direction. You might not want that. You can also rotate at the hips a little bit. You can see that this one is kind of twisting the whole body around, and that's just by virtue of the ball joints in the hips for the thighs. Now, each individual leg has a knee joint, and that's just it, other than the ball joints, of course, which allow you to kneel and things, but it's a little bit tough to get some of those poses in there. The arms are the things that interested me personally the most, and I was surprised to find that the elbow only has one axis of articulation. The elbow can rotate, and that's just it. It doesn't have an up and a down, so there's nothing up and down there. So you can rotate it across. You kind of have to use your shoulder joint, which is able to extend out in addition to rotating, so you can bring it over the head and such, but you're definitely limited with these arms, and also the hands don't rotate. The wrists don't have any articulation, so there are some limitations here. I'm sure that was done as a part of the very difficult compromises between articulation and durability here, you know, given the target audience for these, but you do have some limits to what you can do with weapons. These will be able to pose with double-handed weapons okay, because of how you can kind of shift things around. You are able to bring the hand across. I think it'll work best if you have a weapon that has a vertical forestock that it can hold onto, rather than actually trying to just hold underneath, you know, under a barrel. That'll probably work a little bit better, but you can get some pretty respectable looks there. And this guy's just trying to check out what's going on because he's got a jam, even though it's an energy-based weapon, he's somehow still managed to get a jam in there. But you can see that the rest of these just don't have any wash. There's a little bit of difference in color between some of the parts. I noticed that some of them have just a little bit of yellow cast to them. For instance, the the upper legs seem to be a little bit more yellowish than the lower legs and feet, which seem to be more neutral and just plain in a silver color. Also, the torso seems to have that yellowishness, and the upper arms. The lower arms, not so much. And I think that's just a slightly different resin that they use, or mix of resins, to get different levels of hardness to make the joints work properly. And there's one last look at all of them from behind, so you can see how the spines kind of look like they're flexing a little bit when you use both the ball joints at the hips and also the one inside of the torso. Most of the joints are compatible with those from other themes that Mega Bloks does. So here you've got the Assassin's Creed parts that have been placed on here. You can also use the parts from Halo and some of the ones from Call of Duty, although the Call of Duty figures are slightly larger, so they have longer arms and longer legs that aren't completely compatible depending upon how you use them, but the joints will fit together. A lot of the pieces in the set actually went into this little terrain or structure installation, which originally I didn't care about at all because I felt like it was a little bit of a waste of pieces. I want to get more Terminators. And I also thought that the little turret up on the top, obviously this is a laser fence here, but I thought the turret on the top of the pylon looked pretty weak and simple at first, but when I actually got in and built this thing and saw how many pieces it was made from, I got to appreciate it a lot more. I now actually think it looks a lot better than it did on the box or in the photographs of the thing, and that's always a good thing. And this just has the ability to spin around. It's on just a regular little 2x2 turntable piece. Those are always a little bit loose, but you've also got the ability to angle up and down, and like I said, it really is a nice little build. I appreciate that. Got a couple little human skulls down here, which are the larger size that Mega Bloks has had for some time. These do not fit on the figures, at least not very well. You can adapt them, but they're larger in scale. But just get a couple there just to add a little spookiness to the scene. But still, what's most important here is the squad of T-800 Terminators. And I'm happy about that extra joint in the torso. I'm not happy about the lack of articulation in the elbow. I feel like that kind of holds things back. But I'm really happy about the level of detail with everything throughout these. I think all told, they still end up being fantastic for what they are, for their size, for being just a mass market, mass produced thing, still having a certain minimum level of durability to stand up to kids' play. I think they've done a good job. Would have been great to get all of them in wash, but honestly, I feel like the ones that aren't washed still look pretty good. They still have enough depth in the sculpts that you can still see all the different highlights, and the light hits different surfaces sufficiently differently, so you still get a good amount of contrast even where it's all one color. I don't feel like these look too toyish. They could look more realistic than they do if all of them had the washes, but I think they still end up looking pretty good. Let me know what you think about the set by leaving your thoughts in a comment down below. Much appreciated. Your feedback is. I will be talking to you again very soon in the next video.